those people in your life, those relationships, right? Whether it's, this work colleague or maybe this friend, maybe it's a friend who's been your best friend for a really long time, right? But they're draining you lately, and you know that maybe you're actually have been feeling held back in life for quite a while because of this energetic dynamic that isn't good with this bestie, right? What about some family that you don't want to disappoint, or that you just have come to terms with? No matter what I do, how I show up, what I say, what I accomplish, how I look, or just how I try to help, like it's never enough, right? Something's always wrong. So I want you to think about these people in your life, these relational dynamics, and really ask yourself, okay, am I ready to take my power back from these relationships that aren't really adding value to your life, and to where it doesn't seem like you're actually adding value to their life because they keep complaining about the same thing, or it's the same problem or issue or conversation that comes up every time you meet up for coffee. Every time you have your, weekly phone conversation, or every time you get together for dinner, it's like, how are we still seeping in this issue of the world in every interaction? How are we still reverting back to this thing that happened so long ago, to where it seems like they're still holding some resentment? For me, last year, I had to really make the hard decision, in like the very uncomfortable, like I'm sweating, my face is getting red, I'm almost kind of like shaking, really speak up for myself and set some boundaries in a very loving, kind, respectful way, because they weren't really catching on to the indirect, more quiet boundary communication. So I had a dear friend, big part of my motherhood journey. And I just had noticed a pattern that when we got together, there was always some type of gossip that would enter the conversation about somebody or something, or really like somebody. And I noticed myself engaging in that because, from my experience and what I've observed, is that, wow, I'm like letting her lead the conversation, right? Because I do like to do that for people. I don't want to come in full blown and like dominate the conversation and lead it. I like to leave space for people to speak and show my interest in them. But I had noticed a pattern and had connected the dots after a lot of time has gone by about, wow, this person has a lot of insecurity. This person has a lot of stuff that they don't see that is blocking them from really feeling more happy in life, feeling more peace and less fear, right? And kind of like not seeing the opportunity of what they can do to evolve, improve, or really like just make better the situations that they were in. And I had noticed that, these conversations that were gossipy, or that it was always like drama, like a story, I noticed that, man, this is actually messing with my perspective of certain relationships in my own life, and just my, worldview and my perspective. It is affecting it in a way to where it's like they're kind of making me a bit cynical, and my optimism is kind of getting sucked out here. And it took me a long time to notice that, right? Like a good couple years. But anyway, I noticed that in this friendship, and it got to a point to where the final straw, right, was pulled. And that was my opportunity to really show up for myself and be true to my values and who I was starting to become. So I set that boundary, verbalized it respectfully, kindly, compassionately. And I noticed several months after, honestly, immediately after, but I just noticed, month after month after month, and now, to where it's like, wow, this person, I did give so much of my energy and power and time there, to where it stunted my growth. It plateaued my, me really becoming who I was working and really longing to become. So as soon as I cut the cord with that friendship Not easy, very hard. I feel like I was, just really sad about it for a little bit. But when I cut that cord, I felt immediate relief from that drama, from the skepticism, from the like, there's always a problem. When I cut that cord and released that friendship with love, I like, I just feel like I was reborn. And I talked about this with my husband too. And it just had showed in my behavior and how I showed up for my daughter and just how I started showing up for myself, and in my, passions and projects and work in life. So I shared this personal story with you because please don't underestimate the relationships in your life, the conversations you're having in them. What is the dominant things you're talking about, and how are you feeling once you are leaving those conversations, or maybe even in them, right? Because you may not notice it actually right away. It might take some time. But what are you like noticing? Do you feel like you're getting further ahead in life? Do you feel like, you're feeling more supported in life? Or are you feeling drained? Are you feeling more fearful? Are you feeling more judgmental or critical or just like scared, right? Or just like, insecure, or like everything's hard. Think about that with this friend, with this work colleague, or with this, family member. The quality of your life is really going to be determined and have a lot to do with the dynamics and the quality of your relationships with other people, the conversations you're having with them, the energy that is in these relationships. So I'm thinking about some other people in my life, and just like with some of my clients, I'm thinking about a client of mine. She shared this with me a couple sessions back, how she grew up with her best friend. She has a best friend. She grew up with her, but she had noticed how over the last few years, how they are just really going on different paths. My client on a path of really becoming her best self, really growing and evolving, even looking differently, and just becoming a light. And her friend, who my client, she's not better than her friend, not better than anybody, but she's just done so much awareness, healing, personal growth, really committing and working diligently on her goals to where she can't help but really evolve and go up. And if the friend, really anybody, let's not single out the friend, but anybody in your life, I'm just using my client as an example, if they're not doing any healing, from past life experiences that aren't great, if they're not doing any personal growth, if they aren't clear on what their goals are, if they don't have a future vision for their life and who they want to become, or just the future experiences they want to have, of course, your client, you like my client, you're going to go this way, and they're just going to like, just, you're going to grow apart. They're going to drag you down, right? It's like that crabs in a bucket analogy or metaphor. I always get those two mixed up. But if you got like a bucket of crabs, right? And one is crawling out, trying to like get free and like go back to the beach and the sand and like really like enjoy. You got one crab trying to get out of the bucket, but then you got these other six that are like, hey, come back down here with us. It happens in real life too, and in relationships. Okay. So stop getting pulled into other people's drama. All right. And if you pay attention to that, and if that's happening to you, and you really get clear that, okay, this is no longer for me, you are going to really start living this life of, like, yeah, there's bad things happening in the world, but in my world and in my reality and just in my day to day, I'm really going to lean into this and really be present, with it, and because there is a lot of good here. And if things aren't happy or aren't good, and you're not happy about some certain things, but you have an overall optimistic view and perspective and outlook on life, you're going to start changing, some on how you show up on the day to day to improve these areas that you want to improve. If you stop hanging out with people to where there's always a problem or an issue, or there's gossip, or nothing ever goes right, and there's just a lot of complaining, you're going to start getting more creativity and insight and ideas, okay, on how to really start loving your life, doing these things that you've always wanted to do, because now you have your energy, your emotion, your time back to focus on that. You really start thinking about, okay, I have this idea. I'm going to go ahead and move toward it, start taking action on it to see what I can create. Right. So you just, and you start feeling more inner peace. And when you have inner peace and when you feel like you have more energy and you're feeling grounded, you're feeling calm, you're feeling safe. Okay. Your overall life is going to be that much better. And when your overall life is feeling that much better, you start attracting, calling in, magnetizing the opportunities in form of maybe you're ready for a healthy relationship, the opportunity of maybe you're ready to make this career pivot, like I talked about in my last video, this opportunity of, okay, like I'm going to start working on this project or this hobby. This like really sounds like meaningful and purposeful. And wow, I actually might be able to turn it into something even, bigger to where you can do it full time. You know what I mean? Like you need capacity and space, clarity, creativity, and just calm and feeling safe, okay, and secure in yourself and in life to create these higher level feelings and experiences and outcomes and results in your life. So you gotta, and a big part of that has to do with who are you spending your time with, right? So become drama-free zone. Share any comments that you had that would, add some value or like an aha moment you had that relates to what I shared here today. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. And I will see you in the next video very, very soon. Bye for now.